So I normally start these videos in the car, but yesterday at my appointment, I got there like 1 minute before my appointment time, and so I didn't get a chance to film beforehand, and then we were rushing to do things to get ready for Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, this week. And so I didn't get a chance to film. So I'm going to talk about it today, just in the nursery. So I had my 34-week appointment yesterday, and going in, had some stuff to tell him. If you watch my 34-week bump update video, I talked about having contractions and lots of low, sharp pains and whatnot. So I did want to talk to him about all of that. And that was pretty much the only thing I had going in that I wanted to talk about. So got in there, they took my weight. I went up in my weight quite a bit this week, but I commented about it, and he was just like, oh, we don't really care about your weight right now because previous appointment you actually went down a little bit, so you're probably just catching up and stuff. And I was like, okay, I mean, if you're not concerned about it, I'm not. And he said he'd be concerned about it if my blood pressure was high, because that could start indicating other things. But my blood pressure, he said, was perfect, and it has been throughout this whole pregnancy, so that's really good. So weight was a little up, blood pressure was perfect, and then I peed in the cup, all the usual things. So then went into the room, and he said, how's it going? And so each time I go in, I see a different doctor, because the practice I go to has like 10 different doctors. And so I try to see a different one every time I go in, so that when I do go to deliver, hopefully I've at least seen the doctor before. And so I had a brand new doctor yesterday. It was this guy, he was younger, and he was just like, how's it going? And I listed through, when I went through that last week with the contractions, I sat there and I'm like, okay, what are all my symptoms? So I was like, okay, lower back pain, low, sharp abdominal cramps, and stuff like that. And so I had written all that out on my phone. And so I just laid it all out, and he's like, okay, well, based on everything, he's like, that all sounds normal. Again, if your blood pressure was high, then we'd be concerned, or anything like that. But he's like, you're looking good. And so I was like, okay. So then he took measurement of my belly. He said that was great. Again, didn't tell me the number, which, I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I'm a person, like, I like numbers. So I kind of wish they would tell me what the number was. But he said the number was good. He then felt all around. He's like, okay, I'm going to be applying quite a bit of pressure. I'm trying to see if I can tell, just pushing on her, how she's positioned. And I was like, okay. So he starts pushing and going all over the belly. And he's like, you know what, I can't tell. He's like, but when you come back for your appointment in 2 weeks, we're going to do a full exam, and so we're going to be able to tell then which position your baby's in. I was like, okay, sounds good, whatever. So then he went to check the heartbeat, and since he just felt, he like went to one spot, it was super low, like to check for the heartbeat. I'm like, if you don't know what position she's in, how do you know exactly where to go for the heartbeat? But whatever, dude. So he checked the heartbeat, and he held it on there. Normally the doctors hold it on for like 10 seconds and get to hear it, make sure it's a good rhythm and a good heartbeat per minute. But he held it on there, it was like almost a minute, and he was like really listening, and he was like, oh, she keeps moving on me. And I was like, okay. And so finally, after like a minute, he's like, okay, so I need to check this again. And I was like, okay. And he was like, well, the number, he's like, it keeps jumping all over. He's like, I'm seeing 2 different numbers. One is high and one is normal. And so I want you to sit here for like 5-10 minutes and calm down, don't move, and see if we can get the baby's heart rate to lower, because the lower number is a good number, and that's the number we want. And so we want to just try and get her to calm down. And I was like, well, you did just jab her, so she might be a little anxious, but okay. So sat there for, it was like about 10 minutes, just sitting there, and finally came back in. He got the heart rate monitor out again, the Doppler, and checked, and he's like, okay, good, looks like a good number. So I was like, okay, so what was that about? And he said, it was just a little high. It was higher than normal. So he wanted to make sure that it wasn't like that all the time, I guess. Or like that it jumps up like that too much. And so I guess that's a concern. And I was like, okay. And he said, but it looks good. And then he said, if you notice anything in the next 2 weeks out of the ordinary, especially like if you notice your baby not moving as much, definitely give us a call. We're going to want to see you. You're kind of at a stage where I would see you next week based on your symptoms and how like big you are and stuff. He didn't say how big you are, but that's kind of what he meant. And normally I'd be at the point where I'd be going to weekly appointments, but I'm still at 34 weeks, and so you don't start weekly appointments until 36 weeks. And so he's like, if anything happens before your next appointment, call us and come in, and we'll see you and just make sure everything is going okay. I was like, okay, like, I mean, they kind of at the end of every appointment are like, oh, okay, like, if anything happens, give us a call, that's why we're here. But he just was a little more specific about it, and so I was like, okay, like, hopefully nothing happens in the next 2 weeks, but this morning was a little rough. I was debating actually calling the doctor just because we'll be going up to New York for the weekend for Thanksgiving, and I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be probably like around a 6-hour car ride with extra traffic and stuff. That's a long ride for me at this point, and so I was just like, oh, maybe I should call, but then I laid down, I got some water and stuff, and I was fine. So I was like, all right, even if I call, unless I say like, oh, I'm having hard contractions and they're 5 minutes apart, they're not gonna probably do anything anyway. So I was like, we'll see how I do. But hopefully, if anything were to happen, hopefully it's once I get back next week, because that would be interesting to go into labor in New York. So let's not do that. So I plan on taking just a very chill weekend, enjoying my Thanksgiving food and family, and just relaxing most of the weekend. So after he said that, then he let me go and said, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I don't think I see him again, just because I will be seeing a different doctor each time. So I go back 2 weeks from yesterday for my 36-week appointment, and then I start in with the weekly. So then 36, 37, 38 until I deliver. So we'll meet the little girl soon. It's super exciting. And yeah, all right. Thanks.